So right now I'm going to hand it over to John Santangelo. So here we just took a kind of a quick image. This is the area where John is doing the layout. On the background there, we actually superimposed the 3D model that John actually has on the tablet from our mixed reality portfolio, so the XR10. So you can actually walk the job site and see exactly what you're laying out before you even lay out a point. So those three branches that you see on the background is actually exactly what John is laying out for this particular demonstration. So great way to visualize your data before you even set the total station up and become familiar with the job. So with that, and without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to John.
Hello. Today we're going to talk about the Trimble Robotic Total Station. With me today I have my model RTS 873 with my T10 tablet running Windows 10. On this tablet we'll get into showing you the model. It's a 3D model that came out of our AutoCAD. What's nice about our platform is that you can actually use AutoCAD, Revit, IFC models, PDF models. You can actually create on your own on the tablet layout. If you want to lay out footers, you want to lay out hangers, you want to lay out sleeves, you need to set up grid lines. A lot of that can be done right here on the tablet if necessary if you don't have that CAD department. I'm fortunate enough to have a 3D model that I'm using with me today that we'll have for the demonstration and show you how we're going to lay out some hangers and collect some data as well. I'm going to lay out with my prism pole. I'm also going to lay out with the instrument itself using our green laser autofocusing technology. We'll show you with this particular instrument. It has a camera built into it so I can photograph, document things out on the job site. But also, as I do layout with the prism, I can also put that into the corner, carry my tablet around, and do layout with the laser itself. You'll see with this instrument, it has a red laser that's going to measure for us to locate the hanger or the sleeve, the item I'm laying out, anchor bolt. And at that point, once it finds that, it's going to turn to green. It's what we call our auto-focusing laser, so that it's making it more visual, tighter tolerances for us, so that we can lay that point out using that laser feature. The instrument is connected to the tablet using a radio. You'll see my antennas both on my tablet and on the instrument, which gives me about 2,100 feet of layout radius. It is a line of sight instrument. It's going to learn the pace as I walk around. You'll see as I move, the instrument moves with me. So as I go behind columns, things of that nature, it's actually going to track me and try to reconnect to me on the other side of those columns. The prism that I have with me today is an MT1000 active tracking prism. It has a radio connection in it as well to connect back to the instrument. The instrument's laser, red laser, is looking for a reflective surface which is inside of those prisms here. I have a safety vest on that's also reflective. The idea behind our MT1000 is to keep it locked on so other reflective surfaces, other Trimble instruments out on the deck, we want to see lots of these out there, are not interfering with one another as we cross paths to do our layout. What we need to do to orientate ourselves on the deck, you'll notice we've got it set up on the prism, on the tripod. There's also a column clamp that we can mount this thing on around the column, get it off the deck if there's a lot of activity. We don't want this to get knocked over. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to go shoot in some control points. In my CAD department, we actually set up some control points off of our columns. We came out, me and my colleague, we laid out a couple of offset points about 3-4 inches. You guys can decide what kind of offsets you want, from 1 foot, 4 foot, whatever works best for you guys. And you'll see here control point 2 is the one we're going to start with, and then we'll move over to control point number 1, kind of orientate us that way so we know where we are. All right, we're going to orientate the instrument on the deck in relationship to the CAD model that I have here. So I'm going to go shoot my first control point over here by the column. These control points were either provided, in this instance, by the general contractor, but they could have been with my CAD department. We coordinated an offset from the center of these columns and marked this on the deck. So right now I've got my prism lined up. I'm going to level it up over that control point. I'm going to level bubble, pretty critical here to make sure we're nice and level. Upper right hand corner of my screen, you will see the shoot button. I'm going to go ahead and select that point, CP2, and shoot. I now took a measurement. All right, so now we've got a segment. We need at least 2 control points that we need to shoot in. So I've selected 2. Now I'm going to walk over to control point number 1. Again, another control point provided by Trimble contractor, or me and my colleague measure these off the center of the column. Tip over the top of that. Again, going back to leveling up the prism pole. Make sure we're nice and level. Go ahead and hit the star or shoot button again. Boom, we're within 0 feet. Great tolerance. Now we're ready to do some layout. We'll go ahead and hit the set button, and now we're ready to go. Now, without the total station, me and my colleague would be grabbing a tape measure, measuring off the column, doing all of our measurements manually. Good day with a tape measure, 30 points, maybe 40. I hope to show you today that with this one-person operation, really I can lay out upwards of 300 to 400 points a day. There is a little report I'll show you as we do some layout. It'll actually track my productivity and let me know what kind of productivity I'm getting out of this. It also shows me some accuracy, so I have some XYZ coordinates that will be collected when I lay out these points that will show me how I'm doing in relationship to the actual model. At this point, now that we've orientated, I'm going to go ahead and go into the measure button across the top, and I'm going to go into the layout. And you can see right here, it's got me positioned. There's the instrument. Shows me where I am standing in relationship to that control point. As I move, you can see the little crosshairs in the circle, so now I know where I am. And it's got me going over to a point that I've already selected in the model. You'll notice across the top of the screen it says move forward, so I'm always going to face my instrument and move to the left 21 feet to get over to that point. So now I'll just start walking over to that point. I'm using the bipod with me today. It's kind of my training wheels, that the more I use it, the more productive I can get with this. I basically would take this tripod off and just carry the prism pole without it. So as you notice, I got close to that point. It went from that map view, we call it, to a puck mode. And once I get in close, you'll now see it's got the green bullseye with all 3 arrows turned to green. I'm over the point, level up my prism pole, ready to go. Upper right hand corner of my screen is a star, which is my stake button. I'm going to go ahead and hit that. Collects it, tells me across the bottom of the screen what that point is. So as I mentioned, it is a one-person operation. From my CAD department, I know that's a hanger point. I can get my Sharpie out and mark it. Should we have 2 people working with the instrument, the smarty running the gun, and the prism pole, the dummy down here marking it, me, we can go that route as well. Now what I can do is, upper right hand corner is my arrow button that's going to take me to the next nearest point. So I'll hit that. Now it says I move back 10 inches. Get close to that point. Again, it's all leveled up. Green arrows tell me I'm over the point. I'm ready to go. And I'll hit the star button again to stake it. The prism pole does come with a metal punch that I can have as an accessory to the pole, so I can just push down on that, make my indentation, go to the next point. So if there was 2 of us doing layout, he'd have the point marked and he can lay down. It's a hanger, it's a sleeve, it's a bolt, whatever it is we might be laying out. Hit my arrow button, takes me to the next point, and we can go back and over 3 feet to get to the next point. And again, working my way into doing the layout. Once we get close, get it leveled up, ready to go, stake it, on our way. Okay, so that's how we do our prism layout. Earlier we talked about the red laser and the green laser. I'm going to demonstrate that now using what we call direct reflex or laser layout basically. I'm going to take my tablet off the prism pole there, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to laser layout. So I'm going to hit upper left hand corner. There's an icon that shows my prism. It's going to show us changing to our laser mode here on the screen. And at that point, we can now set up and ready to do some laser layout. Across the bottom of the screen, you're also noticing a little icon of the instrument that shows the laser pointing up to the ceiling. I'm going to go ahead and change that because I want to lay it out on this flat deck for you to show you how that lays out for us here. So what I'm going to do here is switch to measuring it to the floor. I was on a project in LA with a client of ours. There was actually 3 different clients on the project. It was a wood deck that they would move each floor at a time as they're laying out the decks and pouring the concrete. And because it was a flat, nice wood deck forms that we were laying out on, they decided to take the prism, put it in the corner, and use our laser mode here to do the layout. So this new feature is we're going to get the instrument close to where the point is so I can change my reference elevation from the ceiling to the floor that we're on here. So we'll get it close to the point that I want to lay out. I'm going to go ahead, you'll notice on the screen here it says measure that. So we're going to re-reference our elevation. I'm going to hit measure. It's going to turn to our red laser. You can see it's a little elongated. Once it gets its own measured, it turns to green. Autofocus for us, so it's a tighter point for me and my colleagues to select that point. So now it says aim, so I've got the hanger point selected in my model. I'm going to go ahead and hit aim. The instrument's going to take a measurement, measuring in red as we showed before. Once it's found its location, it's going to go ahead and turn to green, auto-focusing, and I'm going to hit my store button. And there's a point that you'll see here on the model that we just laid out. I'm going to select the next point next to it. Again, the instrument will turn. It will use the red laser to measure. Once it finds it, it's going to tell me there it is. Now, you'll also notice that it says point is below the design location. So these are hanger locations, which would be on our structure above. I went ahead and referenced the floor. So I'm on the 4th floor, but I'm laying out the hangers for the 3rd floor. So that's the reason it's telling you that it's below that 14-foot elevation. The other thing that we've done is your decks always go in at the right elevation, right? They're always at that 15 foot or that 16 or that 20. What this does is we'll take a measurement. If the model says 15 foot, or in this case 14.6, it'll take a measurement to make sure we're at the proper Z elevation. If the Z is higher or lower in the actual deck, the instrument will say, okay, I'm going to ignore Z. I've got to make sure X and Y are correct. So you'll notice that was the adjustment it was making with the red laser to determine Z and then correct itself to put it in the correct X and Y. So I'm going to go ahead and hit store. So we stored that one. So that's an example, folks, of using the prism pole for our layout, using the laser layout for our layout. I'll show you here in a second some of the reports that we generated. So again, you can compare that 30, 40 points a day to 300 to 400 points a day that you'll get with the robotic total station. Another neat feature that we like to show, and I think is very helpful, is as-builting or collecting data if you need to. So right now I'm in our measure button. I'm going to hit that menu across the top and go into what we call collect mode. And then with this point, I can collect the points using the prism. If I like, I can just pick it up, walk over to a sleeve, walk over to a bolt, walk over to a piece of steel, whatever it is I need to lay out and collect those. We're going to actually collect a little ductwork coming out of the wall up here, and we'll show you how we kind of superimpose it over the top of the instrument. So I'm going to go ahead and activate my joystick so I can drive the instrument over, get it close, and then start turning it to the point that we're going to collect over here on the wall. And as I mentioned, The instrument does have a camera built into it. So as you see here, I'm kind of driving that green laser to that. And go ahead and turn off my joystick feature here within the software package. And now I'm going to just go into collect. And I'm going to turn on the camera of the instrument itself so you can actually see what that green laser is looking at. I can go ahead and get closer. Now with my tap and turn feature, you notice I got a stylus hanging from the tablet here. I could use that as well. And to find myself using my finger more than the stylus. With the software, I can also come in here and label the points that I'm selecting. So this particular instance here, we've got some supply air coming out of the wall. I want to go ahead and capture some points of that so that we can as-built it, kind of check it back to the model, see how we did with our installation and compared it to our actual model. So I've labeled it. I'm going to go ahead and then, like I did with laying out data, I'm going to go ahead and hit the star button in the upper right-hand corner. It's going to turn from red to green. It's also going to take a picture of it, which I'm taking right now, so I can capture that data. How many of you guys get your phones out, take some photographs, send it to the guys in the office, and are like, what the heck is that supposed to be, right? What kind of notes can you put on your phone when you're photographing? You'll see now I put supply air opening on here. So now when I photograph it, that's going to be superimposed over the top of that photograph. So it's going to make a little more sense for the CAD department when they see this. So I've also got the ability to collect just points, lines, or arcs. In this instance, I want to give them a few lines of that opening for as-builting. So I'm going to select the bottom corner of the supply air deck. You'll see here how the laser moved down there just with my tap and turn feature. It's going to label it for me again. I'm going to hit my star button to collect it. Measures it in red, turns to green. Tells me it stored it. It's going to connect those 2 points together. Give me that line. There's my second point labeled for me. Let's give them one more across the bottom down here so they kind of get a good portion of that square opening for us. There is some focusing or zoom in features for my camera, so I can zoom in. If I'm collecting stuff clear across the deck even, with this green laser, I could be standing here looking 20, 30, 40 feet away and still be able to see the green laser down there. Got my camera turned on so I don't have to always walk down to that end if I need to. So we got that one in there. We're going to go ahead and select that one and store it. And now you'll see how we've got all three corners, selected. Line has been created between all those points. If I zoom out a little bit on the model, you can now see how those have been collected and superimposed over the top of the model. I'm going to minimize the software for a second and just let you take a peek at the images that were captured. These are stored to our pictures folder on the tablet. So now you can see there's my first picture, my second picture, and my third picture. So we can email it from the tablet. I can actually connect to a hotspot, email it from here. We also have a feature called Trimble Connect. And if I go into back into the product, go into more Trimble Connect, I can sign into my account, upload those files, those pictures, upload the actual layout points that I collected, the ones that I actually laid out, put them all into our Trimble Connect platform. The guys back in the office, gals and guys back in the office can log into their Trimble Connect platform, go into the folder, Trimble Office Building, and upload all those pictures, all those points. The other nice thing about Trimble Connect is if changes occur, do you ever have changes occur on the deck? Never, right? So changes occur out here. We're going to add some new duct runs. We're going to move some sleeves around, that type of stuff. We can actually have them send that data to me directly to the tablet using my Trimble Connect platform. Yes, there's some thumb drive opportunities to use thumb drives and so forth, but Trimble Connect I think is a real awesome platform you guys should consider transferring data back and forth between the office and the field. As we go through, we've kind of gone through layout with laser, prism, collecting data. some of the reports that are available to you. I'd like to show you our daily summary report. We select the calendar. It gives me the days I did my layout. Today, the 14th. Let me go ahead and hit preview. At that point, it's going to give me a report on how my control point setup was, when I started, when I stopped. Right now, we're averaging about 34 points an hour for layout. So that was a day, we said, doing manual layout, 30 to 40 points. I did 34 in an hour. That's my average. Take that times 8 hours a day. Boom, we're getting upwards of 300 to 400 points a day. So now you can see the productivity gain you guys are going to get. I know I always took the dummy end of the tape measure, let the other smart guys read the measurements. So we've eliminated any of those type of mistakes that may occur when we're using our tape measure, string lines, and so forth. So that's hopefully a good overview of the product for you guys. We'd love to take a deeper dive, come in and actually have you guys go out on the deck, in your shop, in your parking lots, whatever, set it up with you, and let you actually drive the system and see how easy it is to use. Appreciate your time. Looking forward to seeing you all soon. Bye.
Well, cool. Thanks, John. I'm just going to let him jump back to his computer. Looks like we have a couple of questions coming in here. So, first question is from Scott. Can you help me understand how the training would be provided for our team?
Absolutely, Scott. We will provide 2 days of on-site training. Typically, our first day would be conducted at your office with your team. We look at keeping the size around 6, 7 max, just due to keeping us all together. That morning session on the first day is getting familiar with the hardware, having everybody take a look at that, how it's set up, talking about the data prep with any of your CAD, BIM department individuals, anybody responsible for that, helping them prepare the data, how they transfer it from their CAD or PDF models into the tablet. And then afternoon, let's go practice out in your job site, out on your parking lot, in your shop, and just practice with everyone, give everybody an opportunity to get behind the gear. And then day 2 is, where's the job site? Let's take your data that's all prepped and ready to go out on the deck, put on our PPE, and let's go to work and lay out your data.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Another question in here from Casey. Are these available in stock today, and how long does it take to ship to our office? So,
Casey, yes, absolutely available today. What will happen is once we come to an agreement on pricing, we'll provide the proposal, have you guys sign the proposal, provide us a PO. Then once we've got all that processed through our order processing department, they'll send it off to our shipping department, box everything up, and typically it's a 2-day turnaround on shipping, maybe 3 days, but like I said, that would be the max. It's typically 2 to 3 days to get it to you guys.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And then we have another question in here from Paul. What items are included in the kit, and would I need to purchase anything else to perform layout?
Hey, Paul. Yeah, it is a complete kit. As I showed you at the beginning of the layout session, is we have the instrument on the tripod. I had my prism pole, my bipod, the tablet, T10 tablet I was using, my MT1000 prism, all the batteries, all the chargers, the charger for the tablets, all available. So it's going to be a complete kit for you. There's also a column clamp that can come with the kit, so we can get it off the tripod, put it up on a column, and keep it safe from all the activity that may be going out on the deck. As far as software that you may need to add, depending upon what we're using, let's say it's a PDF, we can add on a little product called Trimble Field Link Office. We'll also spend some time training you guys on how to use that so you can add your points for layout to your PDF. Your CAD department, if they're using AutoCAD or Revit, there is a platform called Trimble Field Points that could be used, so you could add that on to the purchase. Again, there's some training available for that. If you're in the Revit environment and you're an MEP contractor, you could use the Trimble Field Points, but you may also want to look at our SysQ platform.